morning to all of us. Today we will discuss about the chapter 1 of the Orange Book, which is the social welfare, social services, and social work. First, we need to discuss about the definition of social welfare. It is organized concern of all peoples for all people according to Gertrude Wilson. The organized system of social services and institutions designed to aid individuals and groups to attain satisfying standards of life and health that is according to Walter Friedlander. Include those laws, programs, benefits, and services which assures of strength and provision for meeting social needs recognized as basis to well-being of the population and the better functioning of social order. That is according also to Elizabeth Weckenden. All the organized social arrangement which have as their direct and primary objective the well-being of people in a social context. The pre-conference working committee for the 15th International Conference on Social Welfare. Another definition, encompasses the well-being of all the members of human society, including their physical, mental, emotional, social, economic, and spiritual well-being. It also known as the biopsychosocial spiritual capacity of all individuals. So let's proceed with the number 2. The society responds to unmet needs or problem through the following ways. Number 1, the individual and group efforts. Systematic and voluntary efforts undertaken by individuals and or groups in response to unmet needs, just like doing a case studies. Major societal institutions which have their designated roles and responsibilities for meeting the human needs, the family, the church, the government, cooperatives, and labor unions, the different sectors in the society. The social agency, which is the major provisions for helping people, integral part of the community's institutionalized network of services, professional social worker were usually employed by a social agency such as governmental, non-governmental, and the semi-governmental institution or agency. Let's proceed with the number 3. Two views or conceptions of social welfare. Number 1, residual formulation. Conceives of social welfare as temporary offered during emergency situation and withdrawn with the regular social system in working properly. Residual or what we call the the temporary social welfare. Just like during the calamities or during the disaster, dun pa po sila pumapasok ng mga agencies, nagbibigay ng mga different assistance from the different people. Institutional formulation. See social welfare as a proper, legitimate function of modern society, such as the different agencies in our society. Say, for example, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the Department of Health, and the department of any department from the different agencies. Our own Philippines Constitution, the 1987, reflects the institutional view. In the Philippines today, many institutions and agencies combine the two views because of the nature of the people's needs and problems. Social welfare programs usually fall under the categories. Number 1 is the social security. Set of compulsory measures insti- institute, instituted to protect the individual and his family against the consequences of an unavoidable interruption, just like the SSS, which is the Social Security System. Another, under with the social welfare programs, the personal social services Service function which have major bearing upon personal problems, individuals, situation of stress, interpersonal helping or helping people in need, and the provision of direct collaboration with workers from the government and voluntary agency. Say, for example, the personal social services can be known as the direct provider approach. Say, for example, in the calamity, so many of the different agency will go to that certain places or place, and then they will give different material aid or even the different psychosocial aid. That is an example of personal social services. Say, for example, if you have your client and then if in case there is necessary to give something to their client in respect to the different needs, so pwede nyo pong bigyan directly, just like the pamasahe, but not that necessary every now and then you will give the pamasahe. So dapat din talaga minsan you will calculate or you will empower that certain client na they will serve and they will not depend to the assistant of what they or what we give to them. Ganyan po. Public assistance. Material, concrete aid, support provided usually by the government agency to people who have no income or means of support for themselves and their family. Correct. Public assistance is under with the different disasters na pwede ibigay doon. Say for example, namatayan, say for example, nabahaan, or to be specific, the armed conflict also and other disasters na pwede pong ibigay ang public assistance. But take note, we as a social worker, we will not give what we call that duplicated agency to our different client. We need to give also the tangible which is necessary for their living, for their empowerment, for their resiliency. Yun po yung pinaka-importante natin. Another, social services definition refers to programs, services, and other activities provided under various offices to concretely answer the need and problem of the society. Correct, that is social services. Just like the different services of the DSWD, such as 4Ps, Kalahi Seeds, CCT, and etc. Number two, why is there a need for social services? So what must be the reason? There are people who have need and problems beyond their own capacity for solution, just like the social welfare, and therefore social services has been accepted as legitimate function of modern industrial society and helping people fulfill themselves. Many of the problems people face today are traceable to the rapid social change that has been taking place. Adverse effect of urbanization and industrialization, rural underdevelopment. So that's it. So sa isang pagsasabi, etong social welfare, social services, and the social needs mamaya mag-discuss, it will have their different connectivity among the three. Richard M. Tetmus sees social problems as structural or basically located in the economy. He considers social services as partial compensation for the socially generated disservices and socially caused diswelfare. So, as what stated in the PowerPoint that Richard M. Tetmus, nakikita niya na the basic problem of the society is the economic, which is generated and compensated from the different welfare. So karamihan ng mga services, but not all, karamihan is more on economic needs, more on economic assistance, yun po ang binibigay. Another, number 3, among the many legitimate and vitally important goal of the social welfare are the following. Number 1, humanitarian and social justice goal, rooted in the democratic idea of social justice from the word humanitarian. You need to be human or humane, or you need to be humanitarian in democratic idea of social justice. to fight the right of the client. Number two, based on the belief that man has a potential to realize himself as a factor, physical, social, economic, and psychological, and etc. Sometimes hinder or prevent him. So as we all know that our client will go to our office, or we go to us just to give different just to give or to share the problem that they had. So we as a social worker, we need also to determine what must be the problem. Maybe it can be social, economic, or psychological. Another involves identification of the most inflicted and the most dependent, the most neglected, and those less to help themselves and making them priority. Correct. So mostly that's the function of the social welfare, is to involve also the most dependent, inflected, and neglected. Ayan. Another, social control goal, based on the recognition that needy, deprived, or disadvantaged group may strike out individually and or collectively against what they consider to be an offending society. So from the word social control goal. So say for example, in our government, here in Jensen, we have different services which is can be explained by the social control goal. Just like in our different barangays, we have different programs or services like in the youth welfare sector. So we have different activities such as narinig nyo ba yung sa barangay nyo na yes to sports, no to drugs. So with that one, they give services na kahit papano the youth will divert their attention in the sports, not to the drug. So that's the one of the sample of the social control goal. Another, economic development goal. Social services which directly contribute to increase productivity. It are also social services which prevent or relieve the burden of dependence of adult works and such dependent. So, mostly, sabi ko nga kanina, mostly of our client will have a problem of economic or financial assistance. So, we as a social worker, we must give also the services which can prevent the burden para kahit papano, mawaswasan kung sa Bisaya pa, ingar Tagalog, mabawas-bawasan yung problema nila. Not totally that we need to solve the problem, but hinahinay, they will have also the process of their different empowerment to serve or to just to solve their own problem, because we as a social worker, we are only the mediator and facilitator, not that too much na tayo po talaga ang gagawa ng way na para masolve yung problem na we teach them how to solve their problem. Another, social work defined seek to enhance the social functioning of individuals. Correct. When we say social functioning of individuals, the holistic, the biopsychosocial, spiritual, the holistic of individual. Singly and group, maybe it can be, excuse me, it can be a single or individual, and in group, by giving activities to focus upon their social relationship, which constitute the interaction between man and his environment, that is under with the United States Council of Social Work Education. On June 27, 2001, International Association of Schools of Social Work and the International Federation of Social Workers jointly announced a new international definition of social work federation believed to be applicable in every region and country of the world. So this is the definition of the social work as of June 27, 2001. The social work promotes social change, problem solving, and human relationships, and the empowerment and liberation of people to enhance well being. It will also utilize theories of human behavior and social system. Social work intervenes at the point where people interact with their environments. The principle of human rights and the social justice are the foundation of social work. So, ibig sabihin that the social work meaning now is to promote social change or problem solving. So, the social worker will facilitate and to do together with the client to solve their problem. It also empowered by utilizing theories of human behavior such as the different psychologies and the different sociologies that we need to study in order to determine what kind of behavior that certain client is. Another, it also accordance with the principle of human rights, as we all know that our first regulative code of ethics or principles, is the acceptance, and our regulative code of ethics is we don't build. We in our regulative code of ethics is we believe inherent worth and dignity of all men. So that's it. In general, social functioning problems are caused by any of the following. Number one, personal inadequacy. Number two, situational inadequacy. Number three, both personal and situational inadequacy. So say for example, that certain client will go to your office or you will go to us. So that is part of the problem is about personal inadequacy. It also incalculate also about the situation itself. That's why sabi ko that time sa inyo, last we discussed is you cannot call that certain individuals who violated that certain rules is a different terms na yung mga layman's terms natin. We have our different terms such as the social work dictionary. Ulitin ko, you cannot call that certain drug addict as drug addict. So you as a social worker, you need also to depend that certain client. They can call the drug dependence or drug dependency. And then another, the prostitute or yung sinasabing yung mga pokpok, mga call boys, so di natin pwedeng sabihin sila na ganun. So they are called as also being prostituted. So that is even the ex-convict. So hindi po natin sasabihan mga ex-convict. So yun po. So another, all social workers' efforts therefore focus on their helping a person adjust or cope with his environment or modifying or changing his environment, situation, or both. So yun both the personal and the environment because it can be affected as a problem of the client towards the environment also. So as we go discuss with our topic, one of of may mga pagkakataon na we will discuss about the case study. So case study also have a format about the client itself, the family or the significant person, and another also is the environment. So that's it. Social work is not a hit or mess or trial and error method, but a professional services which makes us to scientific knowledge and skills. So you have different skills and knowledge. We need also to familiarize the different attributes of social work as we go on with our discussion. Every meeting we will have our different discussion. So go on and read Advance in your orange book, which is the author is Ma'am Telma Mendoza. Social work introduced in the 1930s as a systematic method of helping people in the field of public welfare in the Philippines came to be officially recognized as a profession with the passage of the law by Congress in 1965 elevating social work to a profession that is under with the Republic Act 4373, also known as Social Work Law. Ayan. Sana po may mga matutunan tayo in my discussion and hope that kahit papano may mga different perspective or may mga different na maiisip na po tayo towards to social work as we go on with our discussion. Thank you and have a blessed day.